Oh, wonderful. We're here. Okay, so let's start all of that all over again now that I've talked to nobody. So let's let's start again. So here is the fun thing. We're working this all out as you are, working new systems. You can see I changed our studio around a little bit. So I apologize to all of you for the no sound in the beginning, but we'll try it again, all right? Okay, so it's Carrie, episode 2 of the perfect tips and tricks. Waiting for, are you guys good out there in the comments? Will you somebody give me a thumbs up? Perfect. Okay. Thank you guys for your patience. So today we're going to go over file formats. We're going to go under unzipping. We are going to hopefully keep you guys or hearing me okay. So we have some special guests with me today. We have Kellie Rushing and Sharon Smith kind of hiding in the background. They have been frantically trying to tell me that there was no sound, but it's hard to do multitask. So again, today we are going to go over file formats and unzipping. It's a little bit dry, but it's super important. It's kind of the most important thing you need to know when you are purchasing a embroidery file and then putting it into your computer. As most of you know, all machines, for the most part, have their own language. So if you try and put a file onto an embroidery machine that it doesn't know how to read, you're not going to see it. We get customer service questions all the time about, where's my file? I can't see it. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So if we're good to go, let's get right into it. So embroidery files and formats. Again, not the most glamorous topic, but very important. What the heck is in a embroidery file format? So there's two options, okay? There are machine formats, and that's the file that your machine can read. And then there are software formats. That is what your file is digitized in. They're two sort of separate things. The software format is object-based, meaning it can be resized without distortion. Here's a quick cheat sheet of formats and machine brands. So you can see Bernina's and take an EXP. Babylock takes a PES. There are great websites. If you want to Google your machine brand, you can find out what's your preferred format is. So the other thing that's really important to know is that everyone is an expert in what they know best. So if you have any questions and you don't feel like it's covered here, reach out to your machine, who sold you your machine. Everyone's dealer is going to be their best expert. So navigating files on your computer. Here's the scary part, right? So we're going to do a walkthrough together. I'll do that in a little bit, but you can navigate your files in a couple of different ways. There is embroidery software. I know many people use embroidery software to open their designs and transfer them to the machine. This is fine in a lot of cases, but if you're ever having trouble, try not to do this, because sometimes running things through the software can cause problems. So if you're ever having trouble with a machine file not showing all of its parts, try to take out the step in between. So when we copy to a USB stick, we're going to choose the preferred format. Your machine is only going to show the designs it can read. So a lot of machines now, newer machines, can read many formats, but it's only going to show what it has the capability to read. And some quirks. And you guys can watch this video over and over. So if I'm going too fast for you, or if you have any questions, this is going to be posted so you can watch it again. There are quirks in every machine. Some machines have restrictions on file names. Some machines have limitations on the size of a USB stick. Some machines require a special USB stick. But in general, smaller USBs are better. And if you find a stick that works well, hang on to it. And the most important thing, some of you remember these wonderful pieces of technology. Technology has changed. You know, there are those of you who have a machine that is working well for you, but perhaps it still reads embroidery cards. That is wonderful, but it's a little bit tricky where, you know, it's hard for us to support that technology past a certain point. So see if you can invest in a newer machine if you're able. I know not everyone is able, but embroidery cards are essentially obsolete as far as new embroidery collections, and it's becoming harder and harder to get them to talk with all of the different components. So just know that technology is moving along in many cases. So sometimes our older products don't work as well. So we're going to do a walkthrough now. Sorry, here we go. All right, so hopefully you guys can see my screen. Cool. So let's cover how to download a design to a USB stick. Let's start at the basics, okay? So I have purchased the beautiful Egg Hunt collection. This is a new one. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, and it's just happy. And somebody posted a great little sample on the Perfect Stitch. So if you want to check that out, they put the little bunny on a dress, and it was adorable. So once you purchase a downloadable design from us, this is not going to, your physical media will not show up here, okay? But if you've purchased a download, it will show up in your My Designs. And that's shown up here. So here is your My Designs. There's a drop down with all the different file formats. So you're going to pick which format you want. You can choose to download them all at once, but these are going to stay here. So if you just want to do EXP or PES, that's fantastic. So I'm going to do all just to show you what happens. When I select all, then I'm going to click download. And this is going to be a little bit different for everybody, but for my computer, you can see down here in the bottom, my download sort of shows up there. Most of you will have on your computer a folder called downloads. And unless you've changed that, when you download something from the internet, it's going to put it there. So you can always look there. So when you click on your File Explorer, if you click on Downloads, you'll see today's download. Okay? And that is usually called Download, and then the file, the collection number. So this collection number is 12831. So what you're going to do is you're going to double click that. Let's move it over so you can see. So you may think to yourself, well, that's fantastic. Here are all of my files. This is a zipped file. What a zip file means is that there's a lot of information to download all these. And so a zipped file is compressed. It's zipped up tight so that it can move over the internet faster. So you need to unzip it. You need to let these files out. And you'll know it's zipped because you see up here where it's pink, it says extract. That's only going to show up if your files are zipped. And then this button shows up right here, extract all. So we're going to extract, we're going to unzip those files. When you click that, what's going to happen is it's going to say, where would you like me to put these files? You can do anything here. You can put them right back where they are currently, or you can click Browse, and you can tell it where to put these files. So what I have is I have a file folder on my desktop. So I'm going to click Desktop, and you see here I have Embroidery Designs. So I'm going to select that folder, and I'm going to click Extract. And that's unzipping those files and putting them into my embroidery file folder. You can make a file folder that's called anything. You can make one for each collection. You can put that anywhere you like. That is up to you. It is definitely easier to find files if you keep them organized into folders though. So now we have all of my files unzipped. You can see I don't have that pink extract message at the top anymore. And I've got a whole bunch of stuff here because I chose all of the file formats. Maybe you own every machine. A lot of our educators, I'll call out our friend Kimberly Dodson, she owns every machine. And that's fantastic for all of you. It's fantastic for her. She gets to embroider a lot of things at once, but she needs all the formats, and we give those to you. So you can sort these by which type of file you need. So if you click type, see how that moves the same files together? So now like things are together. So I'm going to show you how to move these files onto a USB stick and then into your machine. So I'm going to just check in with our guests in the comments to make sure everybody's good. Everybody seems happy. Wonderful. We'll get back to it. All right. Thank you guys for being patient with me. So now we're ready to go again. Okay, so you got your files. They're unzipped. What the heck do you do with them? So there's a lot of different things you can do. Some machines you can connect right to your computer and you can send them over. There's even Wi-Fi enabled machines now, but we're just going to go basic here. We're going to put a USB stick into our computer and we're going to move it to the machine that way. So let's, we'll not get too fancy on today's episode. So this is my file explorer, okay? So that's down here, and it shows all the different parts of my computer, okay? And everybody's are going to look different. Mine shows different things than yours will show, but a lot of things are the same. You'll be able to see your desktop, you'll be able to see your documents, you'll be able to see downloads, and you'll be able to see external drives that are plugged into your computer. So I have a USB stick plugged in. I'm going to take it out so you can sort of see what happens. If you watch down here, you can see, my files are here for my work, and I'm going to plug this in and just pay attention to what happens. Two things happen. A folder opens up, but also this USB drive kind of pops up here. Right? That's now where we're going to put files. So that is going to change based on what USB stick you have on there. Sometimes USB drives are called E drives, sometimes they're called D drives, but it should say USB stick. And you can see when I click on that, there's nothing on this USB. See right here, this folder is empty. If I had other embroidery files, they would show up there. I am not a fan of putting a ton of stuff on a USB stick. Again, what I say is just my opinion and what I find works well. There are lots of people out there that will tell you something different, and if you find something that works for you, that's fantastic. But I use USB sticks solely for moving files from my computer to my machine. My embroidery files live on my computer. They might live in the cloud, they might live physically on my computer, but USB sticks can get lost, they can get crushed. So it's really smart to keep them somewhere else just in case. So I've put my USB stick in, it's there. So now what do we do? So I'm going to make this screen smaller. And I still have up here, behind that, the screen that I downloaded those files. So here they all are. So you can do a couple of things. You can copy. You can select your files, you can right click, you can select copy, then you click into your other window and you hit paste. And there it is. The other thing you can do is you can simply click, keep clicking, drag, and bring it over that way. It's telling me, hey, you already did that. So should I put that on there again. Maybe I'll pick a different one. It'll be easier for you to see. So I'm clicking, I'm holding down, I'm dragging, and there it is. It's now on your USB stick. So that's as hard as it gets. You either copy paste or you drag and drop, whatever works for you. So again, you want to make sure that you're picking the format that works for your machine. So I'm going to show you PES and EXP today. So let's take a couple of those. Let's delete these first. So we're going to take some EXP. I'm going to drag those over. And then we're going to find some PESs. And they are usually alphabetical. And if I knew my alphabet, I'd be in great shape. I'm going to drag those over. Awesome. So this is the end of the computery part. I promise. So I'm going to eject this USB stick. I'm going to right click. I'm going to select eject. What that does is it kind of kicks that USB stick off of your computer. It's the safest way to move on to the next step. So now we're going to try and show you how to put it into your machine. Let's see if this works out. I think it did. So I'm taking my USB stick. You guys are going to have to stay tuned here for me a second. Okay, I think we're live. Yep, there we go. All right, let's check in with everybody in the comments. Perfect. That is a great point. Somebody in the comments just said that if you put too much on your USB stick, your machine will be slow. And that's 100% true. If you put 1,000,000 files on your USB stick, your sewing machine, your embroidery machine has to try and sort of sort through all of that. So it may take a long time for your files to show up on your machine. So that's a good point. So I have just put my machine, there we go. Thanks, Jordan. I think we got the sound. Okay, so I put my USB stick into my machine. This is what my Bernina 700 looks like when I put the files into it, or when I turn it on. So you can see my files have showed up. So on the Bernina, it's this top folder. On this Bernina 700, again, yours are going to be different based on what machine brand, but all of them have a way to bring machine files in. So I'm going to hit this, and you can see that my files have shown up right there. How about pardon my messy room as we pan over. Hi, everybody. So on my Baby Lock Solaris, we're going to just hit embroidery. We're going to hit the pocket. We're going to hit the USB stick, and there they are. So as difficult or as easy as that. So I am sure that there are many questions you guys have. Ask them in the comments, and we will go over all of that tomorrow. So I think it's time for some fun. Let's check in with everybody in the comments. Kelly, that's a great question. She wants to know about thread charts. We did a little bit of that yesterday, but I will show you quickly. Remember, your thread chart is going to be found right here. Perfect. All right, so now for some fun. You guys have sat through the intense thinking parts of this episode. We're going to do some 2-minute tips from our friends, my friends, Kelly and Sharon. I think that we will start with Sharon first, because Sharon, you're up.
I'm up. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Hopefully everybody can hear you.
Awesome. Hey, everybody. This is so fun because I feel like even commenting, we feel like we're talking to each other instead of just being in our little holes at home. My tip today is on thread. I want to talk a little bit about, well, I have a couple of tips I want to show. I use I-support thread mainly because when I started 20 years ago, OESD designs were the first designs I ever stitched out, and we actually use the I-support thread in our thread chart. So you can certainly convert it to whatever brand you have, but it was just easier for me to just start my collection with I-support thread, and gradually I've built quite a bit of a stockpile of the thread. They usually have wrappers around them when you buy them, and this is just grab the wrapper around it and twist it. It just slides right off. Isn't that awesome? Another tip with these, yes. Can you not hear me? Okay. That's okay. That's why I brought 2 or 3 spools with wrappers on them to make sure I had a backup. And, am I good? No echo? Okay. So, like I was saying, on the I-support thread spools, they do come with a wrapper. They usually have a little perforation on the side, and you don't want to slice it with scissors because then you end up cutting your thread and have to wind half of it off because it won't be able to be used. So my little tip is I just take it and I twist it like this, and the wrapper just slides right off. So that makes it really easy. Another thing I like is these have snap down bases on them. It keeps the thread from unwinding when you're storing it. But you want to make sure when you put it on your machine to sew, to embroidery, that you close that up. If not, the thread can get caught in between the little lip there, and that can cause thread breaks, needle breaks, and such. And then one more tip I have with thread is the spool caps. All right, a lot of people use the spool caps when they put it on their machines. I actually have, let me hold them up, see if you can see them. If you see, I have 3 different sizes that come with my machine, and I have this little bitty one that, if you can see it, a lot of times that one gets lost on the floor. A tip, this is something I learned a long time ago, is that you always want to use a spool cap that is about the same size of your spool of thread. So on this particular one, I don't want to use this huge one because it will actually sometimes get the thread caught between the thread spool and the spool cap. And again, you'll have thread breaks and such. This one was probably be okay as long as I put it this way, because then the thread is going to just slide right through it and not get caught up. However, my favorite one for these types of spools is this little bitty one because it fits right inside the hole, and then I know my thread's not going to get caught up in it. All right. Thank you.
All right, great tips. All right, we are going to go to the fabulous Miss Kellie Rushing.
All right. Hi, can y'all hear me? Okay, awesome. So my tips today are going to be a little bit on stabilizer labels and just a couple of things on that. My favorite tip is when you open up your package of stabilizer, your label right here, if you turn it over and look at the back of it, you can't, there's a lot of glare, but on the back of it is a whole lot of really good information. It tells what kind of stabilizer it is. It tells how to use it. it gives you tips and tricks and also how to remove it. So for instance, this one is fusible poly mesh. And so it talks about how to iron it on your fabric. And it says to use a medium warm iron. And most of us go into our sewing room and what do? We turn our irons on high, right? That's what I do. So it's always good when you're doing fusibles of any kind to look at the instructions. I know that's hard for most of us to do, but and to make sure that you're using the proper heat for those particular things. So even though I've been doing this a really long time, I like to take my label, roll it up, and put it inside my tube right here so that when I'm embroidering at night and I'm tired and I can't figure out if this is a fusible poly mesh or if it's a wash away aqua mesh, that way the label will tell me how to do that. And then just real quickly, all of our labels are color coded. So like for instance, if you look at this, I don't know if you can see it or not, the label has, this is a tearaway, so it has purple on it. And then the washaways have blue, so I can always remember that because water's blue. Our specialty stabilizers, which are our specialty products, which are usually not stabilizers. You usually use them in conjunction with your stabilizers. They are labeled with an orange or yellow label. And then the cutaways are labeled with a red label. And I always can remember that because I went to an event and a lady said, well, you know, when you cut yourself, you bleed red. So now I can always remember the cutaway like, I don't know why, that's kind of weird, but anyway. So yeah, that's kind of my tip on stabilizers. So can I show, I just finished last night? Okay. So I copied Carrie because she did a really cute denim jacket with the new Tula Pink on the back. So I did my jacket and I love this jacket because it starts out pink at the top and goes white to the bottom, but I got the jacket at Kohl's on sale, half price. Called Pop Sugar. And actually, I didn't buy it at the store because I didn't know if I was going to use it or not. And then I went home and ordered it online and I got it even cheaper. So yeah, go buy them. They're cute. You're welcome.
All right. Okay. So I think that kind of sums up today. Oh, people are asking Kelly. Kelly, are you still there in the background?
Yeah.
People want to know how you stabilize your jacket. So let's go back over to you for a second.
Okay, so let me see if I can. So I actually use cutaway because this is a twill denim, and a lot of people don't realize that denim stretches. And I always say if it's going to be, if anything that stretches, you have to use a cutaway. And because this is a very dense design, I went ahead and used, let me see, hang on. Sorry. I've slept. I used 2 layers of heavyweight just because I wanted it to turn out really nice. And so I lightly sprayed each of the layers of the cutaway with 505 spray adhesive, and then I adhered it to the jacket and did up. And then I put Stitch 2.0 on top of it because it has a little bit of, twill has a little bit of a ridge to it. And I wanted my front to look really nice. So I've torn off most of my the Stitch 2.0, and then I have a little bit left that I need to remove. But I'm super proud of it. I can't wait to wear it to an event. I did, yeah. So I used to make tons of garments, but I don't have time anymore. So I just embroider everything that I find that's blank. And this is a Allison Glass collection. And I used Ultra Clean and Tear Plus, which is a sticky tearaway. And I can't remember the collection. It's not 76, I don't think. I'm sorry, I should have written it down. I'll post it. I'll post a picture of it on the page shortly. You're welcome.
Okay, so that was everybody. I really appreciate all of your patience with our technical issues, our sound issues. We're learning along the way here, so we're trying to figure out how to get all of the people in one place without being in one place. So thank you very much for joining us with that. Thank you, Jordan. So the collection that Kelly's shirt was Ex Libris by Allison Glass, and you can find that on both of our websites. So Tomorrow, here's the question for tomorrow. Tomorrow, we are going to give you a little bit of homework for the weekend. It's optional. You don't have to do the homework, but I've got a very cool collection for you. I'm going to give that to you for free tomorrow. I'll show you how to input the code to get that free. And then I thought it would be fun if we just all posted our projects that we did with this collection over the weekend. It's not a real big complicated one. It's real fun and springy. It'll be a great time. And then on Monday's episode, I will show some of those off, and we will have, actually Kelly will be back with us. She's going to talk about napkins, so we can prepare for all the parties that are coming in the future when we all get out and celebrate together. So thank you again. You guys are awesome. This is only going to get better from here. I can't wait to show you all sorts of new things as time goes on. You guys are troopers. You stuck with us for about 20 minutes, and that's fantastic. And we will see you guys all tomorrow, 1 o'clock Central Time.